Hey, friends. Barkey J. Dog here, back with another movie review. It's always interesting to see a movie that showcases near-future tech, isn't it? Like Demolition Man, or one of my favorite shows, This Is Not My Life. That one is from New Zealand, and I loved it. It was a little like The Prisoner, but the near-future tech was well thought out and more or less believable and functional. You could see us one day having most of the tech they show, even if we don't yet. Well worth a watch if you're lucky enough to find it and see it. Anyway, this time we're looking at a film featuring near-future tech. Surrogates from 2009. Our story goes like this. In the far-off near-future world of 2017, people don't get out much. Instead, they interact with others using surrogates. Basically, android avatars they plug themselves into and live out their lives as. Meanwhile, the people themselves just lay around on couches going to pot. In this future, crime has all but disappeared, but there are still police officers to enforce the law and FBI agents to investigate stuff, usually white-collar crime. John McClane here is an FBI agent who is assigned to investigate a series of murders, the killer doing the unthinkable, killing people who are using surrogates. See, the whole setup is based on the operator of a surrogate not being injured if the android is. And these androids can do all kinds of amazing things. But now someone has cooked up a way to destroy a surrogate and kill its operator at the same time. The case takes McClane and his partner from the average streets to the corporate headquarters of the company making the androids, to the human-only zones in the city where surrogates are not allowed. Circumstances force McClane to see life through human eyes again instead of an android's. His own wife is addicted to the surrogate platform, and he begins to wonder if humanity has chosen the right path. Meanwhile, he has to unravel the mystery and crack the case. Who built the weapon being used, and how does it work? And what's behind the killings? Surrogates was based on a graphic novel back when those were still good. Apparently, it was an instant hit and quickly optioned for a movie. This movie. In our cast, we have Bruce Willis, and I liked him in this role. It isn't earth-shattering, but he was okay. When they had to rejigger some things and add scenes, he refused to do any of them, which meant they had to hire a sound-alike to do the lines. He may have been in the early stages of the medical problems that eventually sidelined him later on. It's hard to say. But overall, I thought he was all right in this one. I really love the makeup and effects they used to give the surrogates this uncanny valley look, and it's most noticeable on Willis. We also have Ving Rhames as a prophet-like cult figure, leading people to unplug from the fake life the surrogates provide. Rosamund Pike plays Willis's wife. Among other things, she was Miranda Frost in the Bond movie Die Another Day. And James Cromwell is here as the tech genius who created the surrogates and the technology around them. In a way, Surrogates reminded me of Belle, the anime from 2021. In that movie, people plug themselves into a social media app in which they can take on whatever form they want for an avatar. You know, like Meta was supposed to be. Only in the anime, it worked. Meanwhile, in the actual, real, physical world, they're just laying around on their asses. But unlike Belle in this movie, they're plugged into androids, which walk around in the physical world. Ugh, you just know the Twitter kids would love this, right? They'd go gaga for this kind of technology. just lay around on their lazy asses, plug themselves into an android, and pretend to be whatever. Now they just do it on social media with photo filters, and that's bad enough. Could you imagine them getting a hold of this tech in real life? Ugh. You know, I gotta say, I saw Surrogates when it came out, and I liked this one. The action was alright. Could have used more, but it was alright. And the mystery was pretty good too. The politics they depict regarding surrogates, the divides surrogates create in society, all of that was pretty interesting. And there are practical uses for these androids. I mean, why send a human fireman into a burning building when a surrogate could do the job instead with no risk to the operator? Or using surrogates for soldiers, which they show in the film. They have different levels of surrogates too, depending on how much you can afford to spend. And that's pretty realistic, right? But I think given the level of technology shown here, it would have made far more sense to push this ahead a bit. So instead of 2017, a mere 8 years in the future from when the movie was made, maybe it would have worked better set 20 years on. In 2029, we still wouldn't have achieved this level of tech based on today's progress, but it would have made more sense back in 2009. I mean, in 1974, we thought we'd have Moonbase Alpha by 1999. We didn't, but it seemed somewhat plausible. The Blu-ray I got has some cool featurettes too. One on the possibilities, both good and bad, of this technology, if it ever came to pass. While the movie has some flaws, and it does kind of meander along at times, it's forward-thinking, quite watchable, and doesn't overstay its welcome. The mystery is good, and the technology they show was very interesting, so I'm giving Surrogates 2 3/4 paws up. Not one of Bruce Willis's stronger outings, but well worth checking out if you haven't seen it. Hey, you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.